Hey everybody, it's Candace here. Welcome to another edition of Candy Coated Conversations. It's your girl Candace here with another quick video, you guys. It is now technically November the 2nd, but I definitely didn't want to let the start of the month go by without doing a quick little show in remembrance of the rapper Takeoff. He is one third, if you aren't aware, one third a part of the popular group the Migos, who definitely, have made their mark in the hip hop world with their style of rap. There probably isn't anywhere you go that hasn't heard of the Migos. And Takeoff was definitely, he was the quiet member of the group, but I think that from all the reports that I've heard and people that I know, he was kind of the quiet member, but he was the most liked. Everyone always talked about how he had the best delivery, the best verses, and they loved his sound, quite frankly, more than the other two. Quavo is usually the one that a lot of them talk about just because I think he's the more vocal part of the group. And then, of course, people like Offset, but honestly, to me, Offset makes more of his mark as being Cardi B's husband. No shade to him. I'm sure he does have some good songs, but honestly, none are that stand out that I can actually recall even one of them outside of the Migos group. So, just as a quick recap, um, I I mean, it was only a year ago, anyways, but I can clearly recall just waking up early, about 4:30 in the morning, the early hours of November 1st, and already seeing reports that this young man had been gunned down in Houston, Texas. It was supposed to be a fun event. It was Halloween night, of course, when the festivities started, but things just took a deadly turn um, in the early morning hours of November the 1st, 2022. And this young man was killed um, by gunfire. I believe it was the gun, shot landed in his head, if I'm not mistaken. And he was basically immediately killed. Um, it was so traumatic because, of course, this day and age, instead of helping, people record. Instead of taking care mentally of the people at the scene, they'd rather get footage to get on social media and go viral instead of offering real love and assistance to the people that are going through it right then and there, which happened to be um, his uncle. His uncle is Quavo. So they're very close in age, as we're, all aware, but his own uncle had to witness him being killed. The traumatic events afterwards, you guys, I just felt it was horrible. A lot of people were blaming Quavo for Takeoff even being there. Um, they were blaming Quavo, saying that he started the altercation that led to the gunshots. I mean, just horrible things that, I can imagine standing in Quavo's shoes were very traumatic for him. Um, Not only was Takeoff his nephew, but it seemed as if he was his best friend as well. I mean, they didn't have a traditional nephew uncle relationship. They were the same damn age, basically. They grew up together as brothers. Um, so to hear him being blamed for the death of his nephew and best friend was just, honestly, it was horrible to read accounts of this going on for weeks and weeks, turning into months of him being blamed. So I was able to find some information because since this is the anniversary of his passing on November 1st, I wanted to see, because I've been hearing some reports, but I definitely wanted to see, hey, where does it stand? It took months. before they found any suspects. They were investigating heavily, but they did end up charging um, two people in the rapper's death. And just to confirm with you guys, they had a Patrick Xavier Clark who had been charged with murder, and 23-year-old Joshua Cameron, who is charged with a felon in possession of a weapon and unlawfully carrying a weapon with a felony conviction. So this is a person, this Joshua Cameron, who is a felon, should have never had a gun in the first place, which we know it happens all the time. But two people had been charged. Right now, both of these people are out on bond basically. Um, so they're currently bonded. Clark had a court date October 26th, where the judge amended his house arrest, allowing him to leave home confinement between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And Clark is due back in court on January 23rd, 2024. As for Cameron, he's due in court on November 29th. So hopefully later this month, the fight for justice um, for Takeoff um, will begin processing, and, we can have some type of resolution for this family. I definitely know they've been going through it. Um, when this happened, November 1st, 2022, they're stating it was around 2:48 a.m. Takeoff's birth name is Krishnik Kari Ball. And yes, he was shot to death during a private party hosted by Jay Prince Jr., son of Rap-A-Lot founder Jay Prince, at a bowling alley located at the 1200 block of San Jacinto. So, once again, what was supposed to be a fun evening for everyone ended up in a tragic death, um, with Takeoff losing his life. And it's so sad to have this young man, and he really was, a young man, lose his life. I mean, he didn't have the chance to get married, he didn't have a chance to have children. Um, it's just a life that was taken far too soon due to, once again, senseless gun violence. Um, People really, I don't know what's going on in this country where we have so much gun violence, and basically it's just rampant here, rampant gun violence in the United States. Um, Anybody can get a gun for any reason, and they can even get them legally. Um, it's just ridiculous. You know, I don't really talk about it too much because it's not my story to tell. But even in me speaking about gun violence, I would be remiss in not just bringing up the fact that it has touched my family. Um, I'll let you guys know my brother, um, his wife, Maggie, her sister is one of the teachers that was violently gunned down um, at the school in Texas, where all the children were killed and several school teachers. My sister in law's sister, Eva Morales, was killed by senseless gun violence. And it should have never happened because the person should have never had a gun. And then we see these things happen year after year after year, um, and it doesn't stop. We just had an incident in Maine where I believe 12 or 13 people were killed. Just somebody just decides they're mad at the world one day and they take it out on other people. In the case that happened in Maine, um, of course, these people, after they commit such horrific crimes, they then go kill themselves. And so no justice is ever seen. And you just have families just devastated, such as in the case of Takeoff and his family, such in the case of my sister-in-law and her sister and all those children and all those teachers that were killed here in Texas. And it's been a year even with that. So I know my sister-in-law is still dealing with that. Um, because whoever would think that they would lose their loved one in such a horrific way? Whoever would have thought that, okay, you guys, we're going to go to a Halloween party, but you're not going to make it out of a party, what is supposed to be a fun event? So I just want to make a quick little video in remembrance of Takeoff, and give everyone an update of where things stand now. Once again, one suspect is supposed to be in trial November 29th. The other one is going to be, it's not going to be until January where he's back in court. But I definitely hope there's justice in this case. For everyone in these types of things, I hope that there's always justice. Doesn't always come, sadly enough, though. And that's a sad thing because families are left to just deal with it on their own. But we can always, keep the lost ones in our prayers, pray for their families, and wish them the best in overcoming and healing and getting to a better place, going on without their loved ones there anymore. So, once again, I just want to say rest in peace to Takeoff. You definitely made your impact in the world of music in your short time on this, you know, earthly realm. And, it happens to all of us. See you on the other side. Rest in peace. Takeoff.